What is up, ladies and gentlemen, NFL fans? It is your boy, Kevin Phillip Fox, and this is the last time you will be hearing my voice prior to the start of the NFL football season. Ladies and gentlemen, I could not be more excited, and I hope you are as well. It is absolutely party time excellent. I'm not coming at you alone. This is my favorite episode of the year, and we do have a little bit of a panel here. We're going to start off by bringing in my man from Indiana. Oh, yeah, I'm circumventing Jimmy Ray. He expected to be the last one brought in. Jimmy Ray, why don't you tell the good people how the H you are, sir?
I'm good, man. We had a good screaming session before this, before we started the live stream, and it felt good. Kev got some little screams out. I got a huge one. Adrian.
It was more like frantic, like like that.
I was over here cracking up, but yeah, that's what we do when we're 7 minutes late to the show, is just screaming.
Oh, 7 minutes late to the show, and I forgot to tell you guys even, this is going to be news to the producer as well. We're going to have to build this plane as we fly it. There's a panel member that I legitimately forgot to include in our panel, and they will be joining us late. And that is entirely my fault because I was the whole liaison. So just a little glimpse behind the curtain there. The panel is filling up as we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more person to bring in who is here, who is, how you say, privy to the start time of the episode. And we're going to have to go all the way to Europe. Mr. Adrian Revito himself. And he's muted. Starting off in mid-season form.
Sorry, I was still screaming. So, you know, when I don't know if this is an American thing, but it definitely is in Australia. When you're in a high school, like auditorium or whatever you call it, and you want to be the last one to clap. Does that ever happen when you're in high school? Like when everyone's clapping, but you wanted to. Yeah, so that was me just before we went live, trying to be the last one to scream. But since I didn't get it, I thought I'd start the show that way. But hi, guys.
What is up, Adrian?
Hello.
Hey, did you have a chance to catch last week's episode? We only dogged on you a lot.
Yeah, I tend to not, for my own self-esteem, listen when I'm not on the show.
Yeah,
mostly because I
idea.
only really do this to hear my own voice. You guys, I'm not going to say you don't mean much to me, but you know, like it's about me.
We're like the foil to your like self-proclaimed
Dude slept in.
like
Won't even watch the show.
glorification, but also maybe a loathing baked in.
I guess I can always convince myself that really you love me. You love me, and there's no issue or no problems with me whatsoever. And unless I listen to you tell me otherwise, I can live in that world, and it's cool, man. The weather's beautiful.
You can just plug your ears and just yell la 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 la, and you'll never hear any criticism whatsoever. Just whenever it starts, just get ready.
It's really nice over here in Denial.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Denial is underrated. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, as I said, there will be a panel member joining us mid-show, and that is entirely, again, I wear that on my shoulder. And speaking of mid-show, I mean, technically it's mid-show. We might as well bring him in. We have all the way from the dark, dank corners of YouTube, Hunter.
What is up? What is up? How we doing, guys?
What up, Hunter? I swear to God, Hunter, I swear to God, we didn't forget about you.
I did.
It feels like
the evidence might suggest otherwise, but we did not, because we're only 4 minutes in. So
this is an 8-minute show because you said mid-show. So 9 minutes technically is what this show will be.
For those of you from the Twitter streets, you heard Adrian say show, and they spell it when they're making fun of Australians. They spell it SHAUR, shore.
Okay.
And we just heard that
Mid-shore.
in all its glory. Hannibal, can we 1-2?
1-2.
1-2. You got a gain button? Can you crank that gain a little bit, or maybe Ant can?
Yeah, let me try this. Yeah, my computer does this all the time. Hold on.
That sounds better right there. I'm hearing better right
All
there.
right, how's that?
That sounds great, man. Okay,
Here we go.
I would rather you be too loud so we can hear your amazing, incredible takes, which, by the way, Hunter has laughed hysterically at all of our offseason darling picks and told us he would lap us today in the discussion. So I'm looking forward to that. But without further ado, believe it or not, with all the shenanigans aside, 5 minutes, I feel like that's a pretty darn good minute mark to start talking about football in a football podcast. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Minimal shenanigans. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one headline to talk about, and it very much impacts one of us more than the others. Micah Parsons is
Well,
Hi there.
we've lost
Oh,
you.
there he goes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's gonna happen. This mic is. Am I here? We good? Sound check?
Yeah.
Barely.
Okay.
There you go.
Adrian. Okay, we're gonna roll with this. Micah Parsons has been the Packers and no.
So Micah Parsons has moved to the Packers on a 4-year, $188 million deal. Not reading this, just not because he's come to my beloved team. He's been traded from the Cowboys for 2 first-round picks and 3-time Pro Bowler Kenny Clark. And what are your thoughts, boys? Because I don't want to start this one. Who wants to take this away first?
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys
Little
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah,
Am I quiet?
a little bit.
No?
A little bit.
All right, cool. I'll just have to project. So, I'll give you the Adrian. I actually think you did a great job. I don't think we need to rehash the headline. Ladies and gentlemen, unbelievable news. I can't think of the last time a player was traded in their prime like this, especially with the contract attached to it. It's kind of a violent and disgusting number if you think about it for one player on the defensive side of the ball. I usually like to look at numbers in terms of percentage of teams' cap at the time of signing. I think that's the most effective way to properly analyze that. And Jimmy Ray, I feel like if you don't know that number off the top of your head, if you could mine that for me. He doesn't. He's shaking his head. You're NFL stats, bro. What do you want me to do? I'm
25%.
That sounds right. Is that actually
20%. I don't know. What's the salary cap like? Hold on.
percentage of teams cap at the time of signing? So I think I can personally speak for all of us when I say that regardless of how amazing of a get this is, there's got to be a little bit of trepidation. Am I wrong?
I think
No,
so.
you're correct.
I think
Yeah.
you're wrong. I think if you're the Packers, I think this is a slam dunk A plus. I don't think a salary cap that continues to increase is something that they should be worried about. I think if you're the Packers, this is a team that's storied franchise, great history, but hasn't been in a Super Bowl since 2010. And there's been drama, there's been playoff misses, and like it's the easy take. Micah Parsons makes them better. But at a certain point, you have to take a swing. And a lot of teams are too afraid to, and the Packers are usually that team. So respectfully, I'm the kind of guy that says the cap isn't real, and I'm going to stick with that here. Forget it.
Yeah, no, I hear your point. I think the trepidation, and this is maybe it's just, it's just the story of a team that hasn't been to the Super Bowl and have come so close, and it's been their year every year. Well, through the end of the Aaron Rodgers era, I guess. You're worried about the back sprain. You don't know if it's going to be a problem or not a problem. You're worried about coming out of this overpaying. But to be honest with you, that trepidation is just like the nagging voice in the back of my head. As far as the trade itself and getting Micah Parsons, like I guess I was actually thinking about this yesterday. If before this trade you said to me, hey, you can take one defensive player from anywhere in the league, who would it be? It'd probably be Patrick Surtain because the secondary is thin, and then it'd be Micah Parsons. Like he would be like the number one get. He's 26 years old. He joins a defense that sorely needed pass rush, and so I agree with you on that, Hunter Ball. I think they needed to make this move. They needed to take a swing because, and respectfully to my beloved team in the NFC, and in specifically if you compare them to the AFC, they weren't really a big boy club yet. They always had that one thing missing where they were like, can they do it? Can they get it done? Can they even get to a conference game with this current lineup? The youngest team in the league, blah, blah, blah. You get Micah Parsons, you kind of become that team that can make it, or at least on paper. And I think it opens up a lot of things on the defensive side of the ball when there's so much focus with the Packers on offense because who's the wide receiver, young group, committee, blah, blah, blah. But now you bring him in, and it's like you can afford to turn the ball over. Like Jordan Love can afford to be a little bit of a gunslinger once in a while because you can rely on a defense that's got Micah Parsons who you can play just about anywhere. And he was also probably the best pure edge rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, I honestly don't feel like they gave up that much for someone like Micah Parsons. It's 17% of the salary cap, Kevin.
Okay, perfect.
That's
a pretty
good guess.
That's a pretty steep number, and that is something that I think that needs to be paid more attention to in the figures of salary caps, as opposed to I feel like people pay a lot of attention to the number itself or the guaranteed money or the dead cap hit. I think the percentage of the team's cap at the time of signing the deal really reflects the best in terms of how it's going to. And a franchise player, the number is gaudy and disgusting and violent. And I almost think the contract is more so the trepidation I was referring to than the 2 first-round picks. Because look, the Packers are going to be a good team, especially with Micah Parsons. They're got Jimmy, I don't think I had them making the playoffs last week, but I think I might have to change that now.
Oh, what?
Oh, yeah. Prior to the Micah Parsons acquisition, I don't think I had them as a playoff team.
I'm fairly happy I didn't join last week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there would have been some volatility for sure. Well, I put your Panthers in there, so you would have been happy about that.
Well, look, yeah, they are my favorite team. I do have a Panthers hat on.
Is that going to be talked about today? I wonder. A little preview for the main topic.
I thought about it.
Right? No. So yeah, I think we can all agree, right? Actually, what they gave up for in the literal trade to acquire the rights to Michael Parsons is probably like Kenny Clark's a stud, and 2 first-round picks are not nothing, but they're going to be 20s picks, right? Like that's the least. That's the least of your. It's the almost $50 million average annual value that I feel is a little bit harder to stomach.
Well, what I think is interesting about the annual value is from Micah Parsons' perspective, it's really not much different than what Dallas offered, in the sense of Dallas offered 40.5 back in March, and 47 is a really jarring price and really a lot of sticker shock. But when you look at the state income tax of it, he's only getting like $2 million more annually. So when I saw 47, I thought, hey, 47 is a lot more than I expected. I was looking more at 45. But when you drill down a little bit, it doesn't really feel like that much of a jump. I think it was so much more about just the egos and the personalities at play. I think he just didn't want to go back to Dallas. And as a Giants fan, I'm very happy about that.
Absolutely. Adrian, happy to have Micah on his team. You, happy to have Micah out of your division. Me, a Bills fan, disappointed that it wasn't the Bills who made this move, despite the fact that with Buffalo, it probably looks more like 2 firsts and Ed Oliver. That's a little less. I like Ed Oliver quite a bit. I'm not saying I wouldn't trade him for Micah Parsons, but that plus the cap hit and with the money we've been giving out this offseason anyway, respectfully, Adrian, I think you could maybe say that this move errs on the side of a mortgage.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair to say. And, you know, most people will point to like, oh, look at the Rams, they mortgaged their future and not everyone gets a ring out of it. And I don't want to jump ahead and say this, you know, this makes us the number 1 contender in the NFC. And, you know, some people there's a lot of pressure on the Packers now to perform, which I understand is there. But I'm still going in this with just cautious optimism. I can't wait to see him. And to be honest, man, I love Micah Parsons. Like I love watching him play as well. And I can't wait to see him in a Green Bay jersey. I'm probably going to buy one. And just to pay.
Oh, producer Ant, another person not happy about this. He has gone from a rival conference team to a rival division team, so it definitely ups the negativity there because he's no doubt a top 5 defensive player in the league
for sure. And I'll pay some love to Kenny Clark out. Like he only had 1 sack last year, but he's still a good player. There's a lot of stuff that sort of doesn't show up on the stats, but it is a loss. You're right, and he's been in. You know, he's played every game in the last 4 years, so he was a loss to go. You're right about the picks. I worked it out kind of over since 2020. The Packers have picked an average, I think, of 24th or 26th. Like, it's not a big price to pay. But I just think if you look at the Packers situation between Josh Jacobs, Xavier McKinney, and Micah Parsons, who all acquired over the last 2 years, all getting quite big contracts, like there's going to be some issues next year. So it's a bit of a mortgage. You are correct.
And that's probably the one part of this deal that I'm the least excited about for Green Bay. But anytime you have a chance to add a top 5 player in their prime and lock them down long term, I mean, really, it's the kind of thing where it's like, you could just go less Snead here on this one, right? We can all kind of see that angle.
It's also
Jimmy.
Looking at it from the Cowboys' point of view, I feel like this is a crazy move to trade one of the best players, if not the best player in the league. When you look at the depth chart now, the defense, I mean, a lot of guys are going to have to step up on the defensive side of the ball because they didn't add a lot of talent in the offseason, to be honest with you. They don't typically do that. Their offense is the same, but their defense, I mean, they're going to have to catch up. The offense is going to have to play a lot better, and they haven't really succeeded in the past with him. So it's going to be hard to see how the Cowboys can succeed from a postseason standpoint without Micah Parsons.
Yeah, and I'll put a quick bow on it. If anybody has anything else they want to say after, feel free. But for me, the big takeaway, I think you guys know me. I'm going to always make it about fantasy football. I think this makes Josh Jacobs a much more attractive option in fantasy football because I think Green Bay's defense will be controlling games a lot more, and Green Bay's offense will not have to play in track meets because they have one of the best defensive players in the league on their side of the ball now. I think this makes Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, even Jake Ferguson. I think this ups their stock in fantasy tremendously because now Dallas is already average to below average defense, just got so much worse. And I already thought they were going to be a track meet team with Micah Parsons in the fold. You take Micah Parsons out, Dak Prescott might have to throw for 5,000 yards. He might have to go Joe Burrow and the Bengals to win 9 games, which they might not do. I don't have Dallas making the playoffs in my current projections. And they got worse. And I think we can all agree, take fantasy out of it for a second. Jerry Jones is probably at that point where he should have to, Grandpa, give us the keys to the car. You've crashed into your last light pole.
Yeah, I think
dark?
this one's no, 100%. No. The only darkness is the light pole, which is out, that he's just crashed into. Like I feel like Jerry Jones, man, he really kind of dropped the ball here, and he's been dropping the ball kind of progressively worse. He's no longer the Jerry Jones that we kind of knew, and I think you know what, like weirdly, the kind of point where I was like, oh, dude. He was doing his talking about the Cowboys without Micah Parsons, called him Michael again, which is like, man, like, do you not just have the most basic assistant to say, bro, it's pronounced Micah? Maybe you don't say bro to Jerry Jones. And he said, this makes the Cowboys better. It's kind of like sometimes you got to eat your medicine. You got to be like, yeah, look, we traded him away because we got the picks because we think this is the best thing for our future. Saying that it makes you better right now is ridiculous.
It's peeing on all the Cowboys fans' heads and telling them it's raining.
Correct. That's yes.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If anybody else has anything else they want to say on this, feel free. We can wrap this sucker up.
Yeah, I just want to close with a couple just player and like kind of figure spotlights.
Yeah.
One, I don't think anybody on planet Earth was excited about the Brian Schottenheimer as head coach. A lot of people said, who is this guy? Like, oh, like Marty? Like it's not a proven talent. And Jerry only made his life harder. So I think the attention's going to be on Brian Schottenheimer. Just who is this guy and what is he doing with this team? There's just no outcome where it works out, I don't think. The other player that not a lot of people are talking about, which rightfully so, second round pick, Donovan Ezeraku better be good. If he's not, a razor thin defense just went to 0 almost, because I was looking at that depth chart, even with Micah Parsons. You have Trayvon Diggs, who's injured. You have Deron Bland, who they paid him. They paid him. They found money for him. So I just think there are a few people on Dallas that are just kind of getting ignored a little bit just with the whole like spectacle of this move. And I think when you drill down even further, like, of course, trading a star doesn't make sense on the surface, but even going deeper, there's just no front where this makes sense. So Jerry can cope whatever way he wants, but the public has really sown a distrust in him and how he does business. Yeah. And it's ironic that his whole thing is, it's, I know what I'm doing. The Cowboys were great in the 80s. This is like the Herschel Walker trade 2.0. And it's like, the league is caught up. It's been almost 50 years.
Literally.
Like things have changed. So I think it's just super ignorant. And to be honest, just a slap in the face to Cowboys fans who, aren't my favorite people on earth, but they deserve a team that's trying to win, a team that cares more about wins and numbers than ego. So I, as a Giants fan, I was overseas. The trade happened at like 11 midnight or so. And I'm so glad I stayed up because I stayed up basically all night watching people react. I was eating it up. Jet lag, who needs it? I was super excited. So as a Giants fan, this is my favorite thing that's happened since, ever. Being a Giants fan stuff.
Yeah. Jimmy, last thoughts?
I was going to say the same thing. I've been watching the Cowboys documentary, and it feels like Jerry Jones, like chasing what like Jimmy Johnson helped him do, like trying to get that championship. And the Herschel Walker trade was what I was going to mention, and Hunter did so beautifully. They got a lot of picks from it. They got a lot of good players from it. Ended up with Emmitt Smith, and Jerry Jones maybe is trying to do the same thing. But I don't see a situation where that makes sense or that happens.
It's just hard to believe that those picks will turn into good things when the people making the picks suck. Really, you. I guess a broke clock is right twice a day.
They did pick Micah Parsons, I guess.
I guess, right? Exactly. So, anyways, without further ado, we have one final thing to get to before our main topic and the thing that everybody's been waiting for all off season. Sound check, fellas. How am I coming in? Coming in clean, coming in loud, clear as a whistle?
Pretty good.
You good?
Solid. Terrific. We're all going to pick one game on the week 1 slate that we are desperately awaiting, that we are so very excited for. Hunter, you can go last because we're springing this on you. I
got my answer.
Oh, please take it away, sir.
I'm going to go kind of off the wall here. I think Colts Dolphins is going to be a very interesting one to see. And I hope I didn't take anyone's.
Okay.
But Jimmy, he's smiling. I think this is who's going to get fired bowl. I don't think the loser of this team makes it out the loser of this game makes it out the offseason. I think Steichen's on the hot seat. I think Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat. I think both these teams, there's so much tension, so much animosity in that locker room right now with the AR benching, with the Tyreek trade request. And I think one of these teams is going to end up looking really bad coming out of it. I don't know which one. I might lean Colts as a Daniel Jones hater, but I just don't see a world where that game ends and people are like, hey, the Dolphins, they made some moves and so did the Colts. These teams will be fine. I just don't see that. So I'm really looking forward to watching just the catastrophe that could happen on Sunday morning.
I think I love that pick, and I kind of love the randomness of it. It's kind of like a culmination. I feel like both teams are, in a weird way, probably very happy to see the other one across the sidelines. Like, definitely. Both teams are probably like, phew, thank God we're playing the Colts because this is going to get ugly. Phew, thank God we're playing the Dolphins because this could have gotten ugly. But one of those teams has to lose. And that – I remember when I was a Bills fan and the Bills sucked for 20 years growing up. RIP. Not those days anymore. I remember always seeing a terrible team across the bracket and being like, oh, good, Buffalo's got them. But then not thinking, oh, they see us and also think the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a hilarious psychological thing. And so I love the pick, Hunter. Jimmy, as a Colts fan, do you have anything to say to that? I apologize for how volatile and aggressive we're being against your team.
No, I mean, he's 100% right. It's a good week 1 opponent for the Colts, because I do feel like the Dolphins are in a similar situation to an extent to where they're not reaching expectations like they used to be.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very tough. I think Dolphins fans can all agree they were a little more scared of Anthony Richardson just in terms of the deep threat. But with Daniel Jones at quarterback, I honestly have no idea what's going to happen. I think our defense might be a little bit better, but I think it's a toss-up, to be honest with you. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm on the same page with Hunter. I think whoever loses this game is in a deep hole, and the Colts haven't won a week 1 game since 2013.
Oh.
So they're 0-10-1. So that's just the way it is. But I could see both coaches being fired regardless of what happens in week 1. But it is, if you like catastrophe, tune in 1 p.m. CBS. It's gonna be fun.
I weirdly feel like the pressure's far more on the Dolphins because the Dolphins have, they're in this place and the vibes are terrible and all that sort of stuff. But historically, they come out of the gate swinging. Like, it's usually the weather gets cold and they fall off a cliff. So if they come out slow, that's really going to be like kind of the test of like, because we're in the off season, people are starving, and the whole like vibes thing sometimes can just be kind of fugazi because you might have like Tua saying, oh, Tyreek can't just say that and then walk back in. He's got to earn trust, blah blah. Cool story, bro. But like, how do they play when they're on the field? And if they come out and they're dismal, that's going to be major question marks for the Dolphins. Colts, respectfully to Jimmy, who I love with my heart and soul, are expected to be bad.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. And I think let's all remember Mike McDaniel's, what was it? How long he made the meetings or moments of silence at the start of the meetings for how many years without the playoffs, right? Oh, so my cheesy. God. How I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but like, will there be a greater fall from grace from the media darling, Mike McDaniel, genius, he's so funny, he runs away from the camera, oh my God, Mike McDaniel, to, wow, he sucks. He's a garbage head coach.
I will miss, if he does get fired, I will miss some of his quotes because he has some absolute.
He's hilarious. I like him as a dude. I think he'd be a great analyst. I'm tuned in. Maybe an OC even. Hell, whatever. Maybe the head coach. Maybe it was just too early in his career. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a jerk. I don't know. Let me shelf it. I'm gonna jump in here. Game number 2 on our docket, and I'm gonna go similarly to Hunter. I'm not gonna go with the marquee matchup here. I'm flipping through the TV guide. I'm on the last page. I got my magnifying glass to find this listing. I'm looking at Michael Penix versus Baker Mayfield.
Ooh, I
could not be more excited to watch Buccaneers Falcons because holy marquee matchup when it comes to fantasy football superstars. You have your Drake Londons of the world, your Bijan Robinsons of the world. I'm the biggest Bucky Irving fan there is. If Bucky Irving has 1 fan, I'm alive. If he has 0 fans, I died. That is the truth about Bucky Irving. I cannot wait to watch. I don't really feel like either of those teams' defenses are particularly special. In fact, I think both are average to below average. So I kind of think we could get a little bit of a divisional shootout here. Michael Penix, we're going to find out if that little stretch down the end of the year was legit. And Baker Mayfield, we're going to find out if the touchdown regression is coming, if the don't draft him in the 7th round, it's too early, yada, yada, yada. We're going to sit there with our Sunday best on. We're going to eat our snacks, and we're going to watch, hopefully, some fireworks.
Love this pick, and I'll call out Armand's comment here about the Bucks on right tackle getting a deal done because it's fitting to what we're talking about. Very interesting. I was going to pick this one as well. I thought about this one very much so because I love me some Baker. No, not at all. And I also want to know if the Falcons pass rush, they spent all that draft capital to get 2 guys. Is it going to be better? Can they get after Baker Mayfield? They're going against a fairly decent line. And 2 very good tackles. So it will be a very interesting game. And there is a lot of unknowns, and that's kind of, that's what week 1's about, right? Was Michael Penix for real? Because if he balls out in week 1, doesn't matter what happens, it was for real. If he sucks in week 1, doesn't matter what happens, that was a blip.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a division showdown, and this division's wide open. And if the Falcons want to kind of take over and be kind of an underdog story for this division, they're going to have to beat the Bucks. So why not week 1? Best time to do it.
Yeah.
I'm completely with Jimmy. I think it's a big opportunity for a statement win. And I think both teams are kind of, I don't want to say the Bucks are working with a clean slate after making the playoffs, but both teams have a lot to prove. And I think Michael Penix is one of the easier players to root for. I don't know why. Maybe because he's older, maybe because he's got there it is. Yeah.
I almost Mike Penix when I started talking about it, but I decided against it.
Yeah, Mike P. I like rooting for the guy. He closed the season well. People tend to forget about that nail-biter game with Washington at the end of the year. And the spread's 2.5. Tampa's at home, so Vegas sees it as a pretty even keel game. I think we all do, so I'm excited to see it too. Hopefully, it's a high-flying affair.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So Jimmy and Adrian, what do you got?
You picking together? Is that what's happening?
Whoever's ready.
I've got 2, so you can go if you want. I got 2, so if you take mine, I've got to back up.
Yeah, I have another division battle. I have the Vikings and the Bears. Ooh. I feel like going back to the Packers. I feel like this division is absolutely brutal now with the Packers getting Micah Parsons. You have the Bears, Vikings, Packers, Lions. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough in having a division battle week 1. We have J.J. McCarthy come in. We have Caleb Williams coming in, somewhat new Bears with Ben Johnson at the helm. It's going to be very interesting to watch these young quarterbacks go against each other. I don't know what's going to happen. But I think both of these teams desperately need a win to start their season, especially in that division. Especially they don't want to go 0-1 in the division that early and still have to play the Lions and the Packers a couple times. So that's my pick. I'm excited for it. What are your guys' thoughts?
I think it's a great pick, and I want to just say this personally. I want to just get this off my chest. J.J. McCarthy was crowned too soon by the fantasy community as somebody who's a worthy successor, and I personally will be watching that with a magnifying glass and borderline with hater goggles on, because what makes J.J. McCarthy, the Michigan guy who used to throw for 70 yards a game, somebody who everybody's so ready to see succeed in the NFL without any sort of a demonstration in his first year?
I think this is my opinion anyway. I think what makes it, and it's part of what makes this game great because there's so many unknowns, and that this was one of my 2 picks, Himi. So I'm glad to let you go first. Nice. But what makes him great, or what makes people crown him is great, is KOC. He made Sam Darnold great. He made Kirk Cousins on track for MVP practically, and he wasn't that. But having one of his best years so far, I feel like KOC has earned the benefit of the doubt of being able to turn trash into treasure. And so you bring in a guy that he's handpicked, they feel really confident about, they let Sam Darnold go. That's how confident they were. I think that's why people are on board. And just quietly, as much as I can be on board with Vikings, as a Packers fan, I'm on board to see what he does. And why I love this game is you've got the J.J. McCarthy, is he good narrative. As far as the Vikings go, they brought in Jordan Mason. I'm not Incredible.
Yeah, Jordan Mason.
Jordan.
Love
So
him.
is Aaron Jones still going to be your workhorse, or are you going to be splitting it? You've got the offensive line of the Bears. Is it going to gel? Is it going to work with all these new pieces? You got Ben Johnson. Is his offense going to be good? Is Caleb Williams going to be better? Will Luther Burden play? There's
a
so many
lot.
unknowns that will impact the rest of the season, and that's why I like this game, because you're right, Jimmy. This is like, I don't think you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but it's probably the best division in football at the moment. There's name another division without one bad team. And so, like, this game matters. It's a division rival straight off the bat, and a lot of things that show here are going to affect the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm completely with you guys. I think my big takeaways from this game is going to be mostly on the Bears side. I think Caleb Williams, especially on Monday Night Football, prime time, what I'm realizing with these quarterback prospects, specifically the yearly generational prospects we just saw with Arch, the spotlight gets a lot, especially within the NIL era. And I think Monday Night Football, after all the horrendous vibes the Bears went through this season, is going to be a big test, a bigger test than most of the games they'll have this year. Everybody's going to be watching, and everybody's going to have their Twitter open, ready to go, talking about Caleb's either the best, I was right, or Caleb's awful, I was right. It's a big game for narratives, so I'm also super excited. Big X factor I'm looking for is Rome Odunze. All throws lead to Rome, and I think seeing who the real number one, like wide receiver one X factor is in this offense, whether it's DJ Moore, whether it's Rome, maybe it's who they draft, maybe it's Colson Loveland, who knows? Maybe it's Luther Burden.
I didn't even mention Colston.
It could be anyone.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a real explosive and fun game. But, if you can't tell, I'm big on narratives. And I want to see what Caleb Williams does. Because I've been on record saying I'm not a huge fan. I think he's arrogant. I think he tends to be a little a little too good for everything. It's easy to root for Tyson Bagent looking through film. And then you see Caleb Williams scrolling his phone on Hard Knocks. And it's like, who is this guy? Who does he think he is? So maybe it was Eberflus.
Yep.
Maybe it wasn't. We'll find out.
Yep. I think I completely agree. Can I just get a quick temperature check? Like 1 to 10, how confident are you guys that JJ McCarthy is going to be a great quarterback this year? Or let's just even say good.
6.
7.
4.
I'm 4 also,
7.
maybe 3 even. Okay, cool.
And
Nobody's-
can I throw one.
Yeah.
No, sorry. No,
I
go.
was going to say nobody's too confident, but nobody's so sure. I mean, I'm clearly the lowest, but none of us are willing to stake our reputation on thinking he's going to be great.
No. Mine's KOC, benefit of the doubt. My last thing, and this is just from a fantasy angle, I had a write-up recently about DeAndre Swift, and I feel like you know what? Quote me on this. This might be a last chance to get him, quote-unquote, cheap. I feel like he's going to have a pretty banger year.
Cool. Good to know. That's
Like it.
good advice. Bet Adrian's rent, DeAndre Swift.
100%.
All right. Last but not least, rapid fire, Adrian. What do you got?
All right, this is a chalk pick, but unfortunately, 2 of my 3 picks were gone. I feel everyone might know where I'm going here. 41-year-old quarterback playing his old team. Jet Steelers. I feel like I'm happy.
That's not what I saw.
I did not think that's me. Oh, guys, I'm going with a chalk pick. The Jets.
What? Oh, were you thinking Bills Ravens?
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
No, stick with your weirdo pick.
I'm going to, because I'll tell you why I think it's a chalk pick, because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy for half, quarter, 4 snaps. We don't know, and I kind of want to see the revenge game. There's something about Aaron Rodgers that will always draw me back in. I'm interested to see what Justin Fields do. I'm interested to see how Aaron Glenn goes with his first run as a head coach, and I'm not going to foreshadow too much from the main topic because the Jets may come up again, but I am interested to see this game. The Steelers have gone quote unquote all in. I don't know how all in you can go with an over 40-year-old quarterback, and you brought Jalen Ramsey, and that's great, but then you send George Pickens out. So I'm kind of like, what are they going to be? Are they going to be a complete train wreck? Is DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers going to get in a fist fight, or are they going to be amazing? And again, it's one of those ones where it's like week 1 might not tell the story of the season, but it'll definitely sort of set the narrative. And if there is chemistry between Metcalf and Rodgers, it's going to be really interesting to see. I also there's been a lot of talk in the Jets backfield about Braylon Allen, who, Kevin, if you remember, was one of my guys a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I'm kind of keen to see if he comes out and he shares the load with Breece Hall. So, yeah, I'm interested to see this game, a little bit of a revenge bowl.
Love it. Not a bad pick.
I'll go really quick in that. I think that's a perfect red zone cutaway game. I think it's like, oh, Calvin Austin scored a 12-yard touchdown. Cool. I'm gonna keep moving on. I'm gonna keep watching what I'm watching. So
in week one, they're all red zone cutaway games.
Right.
You gotta just kind of be. You gotta have what's the SpongeBob meme where like his eyes are like going and all the like that's just gonna be us. Like, our eyes are just gonna be all over every game. So, Adrian, you had the last 2 MVPs and a playoff rematch teed up for you, and you went with Jets Steelers in the 10 o'clock slot. That's why we love you. I'm not even gonna say anything about the.
I'm
Bills
an agent
Ravens
of chaos.
game. I that's gonna be I do think Bills Ravens is gonna be a slobber knocker, but if I'm picking Baltimore. I'm just gonna be honest. I hate to say it, but yeah. Oh, congrats, Armand. That's gonna be really fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony, I know you're ready for it. I've been ready for it all off season. This is my favorite show of the year. It is time for our. Oh, thank you so much for that in disembodied voice. I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm planning on kicking us off. Is everybody okay with that?
Please.
Whatever you want to do.
We have some criteria here I want to run by you guys. The most important thing is this team cannot have made the playoffs last year. This team has to be sort of have weird vibes around them. For me, the last 2 years, I've picked teams that make everybody in the chat go, huh? What? And usually that's kind of an indicator that
Here we go.
All right. For those of you who don't know, I'm 2 for 2 in my offseason darling picks for creating playoff teams. Hopefully, thank you.
Who of us don't know? If you've watched 4 seconds of this podcast, you know that Kevin's Offseason Darlings are good.
So each of us is going to pick a team, and we're going to be talking a little bit about it. Anthony also, believe it or not, is going to be joining us, and he has one. I really hope he takes the Alice spot of our Brady Bunch and gets right in the middle here. I don't know if that's possible, but if it is, I would like to see that happen. Without further ado, I'm going to kick us off here. All right, I'm going to start off with a riddle, okay?
Okay.
What do you get when you take a first year in a new system, defensive-minded head coach? You add that in with you add that in with a top 5 drafted quarterback, and you add that in with me picking you as an offseason darling team. What's the answer?
The Houston Texans, the Washington Commanders, and
does this apply
the New England Patriots?
Any other AFC East teams? Maybe could it be the Jets? No, it's not. It's well, it actually literally does apply to the Jets, but and I thought about it.
Where was Fields picked? Picked?
Top 5?
Yeah.
Oh, you said 10?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Giants
okay.
that pick.
Oh God. Thank
Close
God.
up.
I was gonna originally bait and switch everybody and pick the Jets because the Patriots. I think the hype train's gotten a little out of control, and I was the conductor for the first portion of the journey. I've gotten off the hype train in more recent weeks, given that Vegas's win-loss over/under has become 8.5, which means it's plus money to take them to. It's negative money to take them to make the playoff or have a winning record, which very likely in the AFC means you could contend for a playoff spot. Regardless, I gotta go with the Patriots. They were my favorite pick last year. I love Drake May. I thought Gerard Mayo was going to be a good coach, but as we got closer to the season, the vibes just got worse and worse. I did love Jaden Daniels a little bit more. I did love everything that was going on there, but I was not wrong on the Patriots. I was just early, and I'm coming back with a vengeance. Despite the fact that Diggs is 31 and coming off of a torn ACL, we all know what Stephon Diggs is capable of. He's kind of Superman when it comes to his health, and you can see how clear the bounce back is. Diggs looks good. He's passing the eye test early. Do I think they overpaid him still, regardless? Absolutely. Do I think 31-year-old coming off of a torn ACL Stephon Diggs is better than 99% of what was out there for the Patriots this offseason? I do. And I think you bake that in with the fact that Mike Vrabel is coming home. Josh McDaniels is coming home. The vibes are just right. Gronk and Edelman are in. They're excited about it. Let me talk about the offensive line. Will Campbell, unbelievable player. That's a top 5 offensive lineman right there. Let's talk about really the crown jewel of the fantasy draft season, Travion Henderson. Not sure if we've seen a rise like his in a fantasy draft ADP over the course of an offseason. maybe ever in the history of my time covering fantasy football. So without further ado, you take all those elements, you take a second-year leap from stud quarterback Drake May. I don't think there's any doubt. I think their division is difficult. I hesitate to go as far as to say that I will pick them to make the playoffs, but they do have now one of the biggest stamps of approval that you can get as a team that didn't make the playoffs last year, and that I picked them to be my offseason darling team. So will New England make the playoffs this year? If I have a gun to my head, or if I'm betting my rent, I would probably say no. But I think regardless, they're going to be much better. I predict them to be at least an 8-win team, but I would not be even the least bit shocked if they're 10-7. Maybe they sneak into a wild card spot. Fellas, what are we feeling? What's the temperature in the room?
All right, I'm gonna go first here, and I want on the record. I want everyone to know that my constant nagging at Kevin's off-season darling picks is pure envy. I hate that he's got it right twice in a row, and I have not. My Cardinals, who I considered picking again, by the way, but I didn't, were a terrible choice. This is a great one. It's just gross to see you like on an AFC East team. That's all it is, and it's just like, Anyway, take that part out of it. I think this is a great pick. Henderson, by all accounts, is a game wrecker. His preseason showed that you could see, everyone and every report out of camp he's like, any play could be an explosive one. I think he's awesome. I love Mike Vrabel. I like that they brought him in. I'm kind of TBC on Josh McDaniels, and I say that because I know what he did, and I understand that. But Bill Belichick also did that, and we don't have to say it's 100% Tom Brady, but it was a lot of Tom Brady. Like, you've got Drake May, who is a promising young QB who's had a great rookie season, but he's not Tom Brady, right? So like I'm interested if we get Patriots Josh McDaniels or Raiders Josh McDaniels. But I do feel like they are set up to win. Their strength of schedule is pretty decent. Really, in their division, the only ones, the two losses that you can probably pencil in just about are the Bills, without putting voodoo out there. So I think it's a good pick. I just, you know what? I just don't like seeing you go for an AFC East team.
Me neither, brother. And like I said, the Jets, they were very heavily in consideration. The Jets may or may not be coming up a little later in this episode. I was really down to those two, and my hate affair with the New England hype train almost steered me out of taking them. But I'm an oracle. I call it how I see it. It's New England, and they're going to be significantly better this year than they were last year. I don't know how many games they won last year. I know they were in contention for the number 1 pick. Yeah, I know it was Mayo throwing out Bazooka Joe, and Buffalo kind of sleepwalking through Week 18, which let them played their way out of the number 1 overall pick, and they got all the way down to 4, which just an all-time organizational burn by Gerard Mayo there, because they could have had Travis Hunter. Alas. It is what it is. Apart from that 4 wins, I think I could see them getting to 8, and I think doubling their win total and contending for the playoffs. I feel solid. And Hunter, Jimmy, what do you got?
I think that's a good pick, Kev. I mean, I respect your opinion as a football analyst. You're a very knowledgeable guy, but to be honest, I'm a little disappointed. I'm just a little underwhelmed by it. I think it's a really safe pick. I think the Patriots are everyone's pick to be better. I think they made a lot of moves, and that's what happens when you spend a bunch of money in free agency. You use your draft capital, and I'm a big Travion Henderson guy. I have him as my RB2 in my primary home league. So I'm a believer, and I think Drake May is going to be great. Made a video on him. I think Drake May's all good vibes. I just think it's a little easy. I think Vegas is implying them to be the most improved team. I'm almost certain about that. So, and a very, like Adrian said, pretty easy schedule. So, I think it's a good pick. I'll be on the safe side, but I can't disagree with you. I can't sit here genuinely and honestly and say the Patriots are going to be bad, but I don't know, Kev.
You know what? I'm not mad at what you're saying, because you know what? Both my last 2 were crazy left field, thought to be top 5 drafting. Adrian, you can maybe vouch for this. I was in on the Patriots before it was cool. Can I at least get that?
Sure.
I like I said, just early. No, never wrong, just early. I think what you're saying is fair, but I think also I feel very vindicated in it regardless.
Fair.
Yeah, but hey, Hunter, if you came on here and you shined my shoes, you wouldn't be the Hunter that we all love. 100%.
Here we are.
All right, Jimmy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the same page as everybody else. It's a good pick, somewhat of an easy pick. I mean, Bill Belichick left this roster in somewhat of ruins, and Gerard Mayo got the first round, and now it's time for Mike Vrabel, and people are definitely more excited for him. He was a great coach with the Titans, and just didn't end too well, and coming back home to the Patriots. It's exciting, people. Is this roster great? No. Is it good? It's all right.
Right. I agree.
It's all right. But if Drake May can come in and make that step, which is kind of the prediction that you're making, if the Patriots are going to be better than they were last year with that offensive line, with Christian Gonzalez on the defensive side of the ball, that's a great young piece to kind of lead your defense.
By the way. Injured
by the way, doesn't matter. It's all about the mindset.
Yo, anyone else have Drake May as their starting quarterback in any fantasy leagues? I got him in one.
No.
I faded quarterback. I took him with my last pick.
No,
I
sir.
like it.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. I think he's going to put up numbers.
He's fun.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, guys. We made it around the panel. We'll get into more stuff later. Who wants to go next?
Can I take the next one just because it's close to this? It's close to home here. Sorry, Himi, if you want to take it, I don't want to take this.
No, go ahead. It's all you.
Let's keep it in the AFC East because we've been kind of teasing the Jets so we all know what's coming, and Armand is ready to voodoo doll me because he knows this is bringing some serious bad vibes because I don't pick winners when it comes to offseason, darling. But I'm in on the Jets here, right? And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to take away all the stats sheets, take away all the palpable things that you can see and you can prove. Just think of this time every year. The Jets are generally a laughingstock. They have Aaron Rodgers and things aren't good in the building, or is off to Egypt, or they've drafted this, or they made this mistake, or Woody Johnson is in the news again. Like this, it's like radio silence this year. It's like Aaron Glenn's come in. Garrett Wilson wants to play again. Breece Hall feels healthy. Justin Fields is locked in. There's a kind of no nonsense approach, and everyone seems bought in. And the Dan Campbell of it all, like the Dan Campbell kind of esque, I guess, culture seems to be implanted really, really quickly. And so for me, with the Jets, it's kind of like no news is good news at the moment because they're always in the news poorly. You bring in Fields, who I wasn't high on Fields with the Bears for obvious reasons, but sometimes I can't help but let the bias in me take over. But the dude's 26 years old. He's a year older than Michael Penix. Let me say it right. Right? He's the same age as Trevor Lawrence. He's the same age as Brock Purdy. He's the same age as Dorian Thompson freaking Robinson. Like, he is young still, and he can still turn his career around. He is younger than Sam Darnold is when he sort of turned it around. He's mobile. He adds an element to the offense that defenses have to account for, right? So you have this culture shift in the building. You have players happy to be playing. Sauce Gardner is extended, even though we kind of expected he might be out the door. So you just it feels like things are going well. I talked about Braylon Allen earlier, who reports are coming out that he might be splitting reps with Breece Hall. So it feels like they've got a solid rushing attack. And then you kind of take out. So that's the sexy pieces, I guess, we'll talk about. If you take that out, they drafted Armand Membu in the first round. You pair him with Olu Fashanu. You got two really solid tackles. That line is significantly better than it was when Aaron Rodgers was, I'm not going to say running for his life, when he was kind of limping for his life. They've taken Josh Myers, who was a Packer, as a really solid center. They brought in Harrison Phillips. They brought in Jawan Briggs. Their D-line is getting stronger. They've got Will McDonald and Quinnen Williams, who are both really solid pieces to get after the opposing quarterbacks. I just think, I think the Jets are another kind of easy-ish pick, so I'm going to take that on the chest. But I do feel like this time it feels a bit more real about the Jets at least being a contending team. Thoughts? I've obviously upset Kevin because he's left the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. I think the whole point of this topic is to, kind of put a positive spin on teams that haven't really been so great. And I think with the Jets, you bring up Woody Johnson. Gosh, man, not enough fans know how awful Woody Johnson is. I mean, Jerry gets all the headlines, and you have Tepper and all those guys. I think Michael Bidwell's another contender, but honestly, chips down, when you put it all together, Woody Johnson's probably the worst owner in the NFL, and I'd argue probably the worst person that owns an NFL team. That would be my take. So I don't disagree. I think this team's much improved. I don't see a major jump. I don't see a ton of exciting talent being added here. So I'm not going to say the Jets are going to make a playoff push. I think think that Justin Fields, while he could bounce back, I don't think with Aaron Glenn in this team and on the Jets especially is going to put him into that Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield revenge tier almost. So while I think the Jets could be better, I just am interested to see where their ceiling is at, especially with a defensive head coach, because they do have the talent in the trenches and they do have Garrett Wilson, still Breece Hall, a solid backfield. I'm a big Braylon Allen guy, but again, it's the ceiling kind of comes into question. But it's the Jets. Why not? Let's let the Jets have fun one time. I do think the Jets and the Giants have a little bit of bad blood after it always happens after a preseason game. Someone says something and then it's like, we're the real team for New York. It's like, how about one of them tries to be good? How about that? So, I think the Jets is a fun pick, much more of a hot take than the Pats. So I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of fun, Justin Fields is a lot more fun than Aaron Rodgers just kind of standing in the pocket, taking the sacks. I think Justin Fields could potentially open up running lanes. When you initially said the Jets, I was like, I don't know about that, but I do like a lot of their players for fantasy football, so that might be something like Breece Hall. I think he's good value. Garrett Wilson's good value. They have defensive players that can obviously produce, and bringing in Aaron Glenn that could change the dynamic and the culture that is much needed for a defense that has a lot of players that can contribute. But yeah, Justin Fields, I mean, it's an exciting team to an extent in terms of the players. I think it's exciting, but in terms of what they've done with those players, not so much. But yeah, it's a lot of these teams you can be banking on quarterback play, because that's what the NFL is kind of all about. It's what makes or breaks a team, and I don't hate it. So Justin Fields is fun. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, and Adrian, I'm sorry, I missed the ending portion of your point. Given that my laptop, I thought I was plugged in this whole time, and I realized it was a jar, so I had to go get my good charger. You know how that goes. Yeah. So Adrian, you have to forgive me if I missed any of your brilliant salient points. But I'll step in and say that I considered them as my team. It was very heavily, and I wanted to market the bait and switch of, defensive head coach, highly drafted quarterback, first year AFC East team. And I was going to bait and switch because I was teasing the Patriots all offseason. It didn't end up working out for me that way. Again, I let the board speak to me, and I also let my eyeballs speak to me. And Justin Fields, when you watch him with your eyeballs, tough sell. Tough sell that he will take a leap, if I'm being completely honest. I've seen a lot of Justin Fields football, and I think he's going to be great on the ground. I think he'll be an okay game manager. I think the ceiling is significantly limited, not to mention who's their wide receiver too. Anyone? Bueller?
Alan Lazard.
Maybe.
I should know this, but I don't.
No, you know who it is? I'm pretty sure. I actually believe it's Josh Reynolds. Which,
no.
Again,
it can't
over
be.
Alan Lazard?
I actually believe that is their big three there.
It can't be Josh Reynolds.
I actually yep, Armand just commented, ladies and gentlemen, resident Jets
Xavier
fan.
Gibson?
Official depth chart.
So I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to poo-poo. I know there was a penciled in debate at the end if I were to make my case against the Jets, because I think their defense will be good. I think Aaron Glenn's going to be a great head coach. I love what I've seen from him, although I did watch the Aaron Glenn stuff. I think he's a great leader. I think he's a great motivator. We'll see about scheme. The Lions had some shaky defensive performances over the years while he was at the helm. Regardless, I considered it myself, so I'm not going to besmirch it, and I think it is better.
Oh, better than what?
What's
it better than?
Better than disconnecting mid-show, which is
Mike
fair.
McDaniel with a moment of silence.
And just
Dolphins, yeah.
Counterpoint, the receiving option number 2 is probably Mason Taylor. I feel like he's gonna be good this year.
Proven talent.
Yeah. All right. Well, while we're watching Kevin's circle spin slowly, who wants to go next?
Jimmy, you want to take it?
Yeah, I'll go next. I feel bad that Kevin's not here to just ruin my pick, but this team last year they were bad on defense. The quarterback mediocre at best. Their running game went downhill, avalanched compared to the year before because of a certain player. They haven't had good head coaches, but this is kind of me believing in the coach, believing in the playmakers they've added, believing in their division sucking really bad. And this division is my division. I'm going with the Jacksonville Jaguars as my
This is
pick.
blasphemy by everyone.
I know. I mean, I have no. The Jaguars have been bad. I have no ill will towards the Jaguars. You guys have maybe some of your teams in your division that have been good that you can be like, I hate this team. The Colts, I mean, we have somewhat of a rivalry against the Titans, Texans, Jaguars, but nothing crazy. I mean, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, they absolutely destroy them, and they haven't done anything in the postseason. So I'm happy to pick the Jaguars here. I feel like Liam Cohen, I'm putting my stake in him. I'm putting my stake that Trevor Lawrence can be a quarterback, not turning the ball over like he did last year. I think Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, I think that is a running back duo that could prove to be better than they have been in the past. They added some pieces on the offensive line. Defense has a lot of question marks, but no question marks around Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen. They were 27th in pressure rate last year. That's not going to cut it. Their interior defensive line definitely needs to help, but with those two guys on the edge, I think that could prove to be really good for them. Their secondary raises a lot of question marks, but who did they pick that could help in terms of playmaking? And their secondary, we have Mr. Travis Hunter. So they have Brian Thomas. Hey.
So much for that good Charger, am I right, fellas?
Rest in peace.
The other good one.
Pretend I'm not here, Jimmy. If you wanna remake any of your last points, please.
No, I just started talking about Travis Hunter. I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you didn't know that already, but I think you did.
Move on.
But Travis Hunter, he's listed on the depth chart as a wide receiver 2 and as a backup cornerback. But I think he could be useful in both capacities. I think he's an exciting player that I'm excited to see how they use. I think they had Isaiah Simmons way back when. He was kind of a versatile player that was picked that didn't turn out too well. This guy just won the Heisman as a wide receiver and a corner. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the new coach. I'm excited that they're in a division that is wide open in terms of the Texans not really caring about their offensive line at all, the Colts not caring about the quarterback play at all, and the Titans. So I think the Jaguars could win the division. I think that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have to be like a Josh Allen type, but I think he has to be better than he was in terms of interceptions, turnovers, all of that. Yeah. But I think we could see a revitalization with Liam Cohen and a coach that had a top 5 offense last year with the Bucs. So,
yeah, I like that pick a lot. That's probably, to be honest, that's probably my favorite out of the 3 we have here so far. I think it's fun. While Jimmy, you were talking, I did this little thought experiment in my head. Can I name a Jaguars offensive player pre-2023? And I got as far as Maurice Jones-Drew, and that's it. That's all I could think of. And this is the first time I feel like the Jags are a team that you can really hang your hat on and be excited to at least watch. If nothing else, win, lose, or draw, they will be a fun team to watch. Even if Trevor's not that great, Brian Thomas is what I'm buying more and more into Brian Thomas as each day goes forward. 6'3", 4.3 speed. He's just awesome. And I think when you combine Travis Hunter, when you have an improved backfield, that I think, hey, if Travis Etienne falls off a cliff, Tank Bigsby's right there. If Tank Bigsby's not that great, Brayshaw Tutin's right there. And I trust that Liam Cohen will figure out at least one of them. I think this is a team that, bare minimum, will have a really fun offense. And I think, like you said, in a wide open division that's completely absent of rivalries or, let's be honest, much intrigue at all. I think if any team is ever going to relocate, it's probably an AFC South team. And, who that could be, who knows? But it's just a funny thought experiment to see the Jags kind of be fun instead of, it's the Jags. I think in the last decade, they're the losingest team. I could be wrong, but some sort of gap. I can't be far off. Yeah.
Gotta be the Browns.
It's top last 12, 13 years, something like that. They're the losingest team. And I just think it's a fun pick. I think this is one of the more improved teams just on vibes. So I love it. I love the pick.
Yep.
I hope nobody relocates, by the way. Just,
that would suck.
That would not be fun. Fans. Please. Colts will be fine.
Adrian, you look like you were dying to say something.
No, I didn't want to interrupt. I'll let you take it away.
Well, I was just gonna say, I also think it's a good pick. I think Liam Cohen is probably the biggest feather in the cap. For me personally, when it comes to Jacksonville, I have this liminal relationship with the idea that Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be the prince who was promised, and we've been making that joke for 3 years now. And I'll never forget the hype and the Clemson and the long flowing hair and the yada, yada, yada. And I literally can't fathom thinking Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy who's going to take your team to the promised land now at this point, knowing what we know. I think there's a lack of dog in him. I think there might be a dog somewhere physically, but if you look at his face, do you really feel it? Like, do you really feel the engagement?
You got to look at the hair. You got to look at the hair.
Do you feel the fire? Do you feel the fire from Trevor Lawrence? Like, do you guys feel that?
No, but you know what would be dope, speaking of the hair? What if he cut his hair, like even shaved his head? I feel like that would be, I don't know why that would bring me back in on him, but I'd just love to see, like, no messing around this year. I'm no longer Fabio, Zhang, and I'm in.
Yeah.
Sorry, I derailed the conversation, but that's my thought.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think there at this point for Trevor Lawrence's career, short of MVP, I don't think there's anything that could be better for his career than cutting his hair.
Yeah.
Me personally.
And just to put a bow on this one, I think it's a good pick because I feel like, particularly on the offense, the Jags just need to be the sum of their parts. They don't need to be anything more. They need Trevor Lawrence to be a good quarterback. They need their running back room to have one good running back. They need Liam Cohen to like bring in a good offensive scheme. I'm with you, Hannibal. Like Brian Thomas Jr., I probably can't think of a quarterback from his draft, a receiver from his draft class that I'm more high on at this point. Travis Hunter just needs to be as good as we expect him to be. Even De'Ami Brown is a good 3. Brenton Strange slept on a little bit as a tight end. I feel like if he is an average tight end, like they've got all the parts there. They just need to be the sum of it.
Yeah, am I an idiot, or did you guys agree with the whole, like, can't think of a Jaguars offensive player in the past, like, 15
Marvin
years?
Jones came to my head.
Come on.
Alan
Blake
Robinson.
Bortles.
Marvin Jones.
There you go.
Alan Hearns.
Fred Taylor.
Oh, man.
Fred Taylor. There you go.
Bortles is all I've got. That's
Bortles
all
a
I've
legend.
got.
Bortles is a legend.
Yeah, did somebody say Hearns? I heard Robinson.
Yeah, the two Allens, right?
Oh,
Alan
yeah.
Robinson and Alan Hearns. They were
That's all I got.
duo of the century.
That's all I got. No, I absolutely I love it. And again, I'll go with Hunter. I'll piggyback off what Hunter said here. Definitely maybe the biggest cojones of the three of us. For sure. Like you went out on a limb here for your Jaguars pick. They're
4 wins or something. Yeah, second.
Similar. I mean, same as my team.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but no. but regardless, ladies and gentlemen, we have one more offseason darling team to get to. Do we feel comfortable with concluding the Jaguars conversation with that? Is there more? Anybody have anything else they want to say? No, I think Travis Hunter's the X factor. I'd love to see him play both sides of the ball full time. That would be absolutely unbelievable. I was banging the Heisman drum for Travis Hunter last year. I know Genty put up video game numbers, but we've seen guys put up video game numbers before. We've never seen somebody be as dominant as he was on both sides of the ball for a whole season. I'm a huge Travis Hunter fan, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this year. There he is. Look at Fabian.
There he is.
What, you got some analysis, Fabian? Oh, just unplugging the mic. That's all.
What is he doing?
I love it. He gets cuter every day.
He's
Adrian.
learning young.
He gets cuter every
He
day.
looks
Okay, can
nothing
you guys
like
hear me?
you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Your thoughts on the Jaguars? That's solid. That's
Can
solid
he
analysis.
show touchdown, Adrian?
Can you do touchdown? Can you do touchdown for the camera?
Touchdown.
Two hands.
Yay!
Let's go.
Yay! Fabian, your annual or your weekly episode has really brightened up all of our day here because, ladies and gentlemen, Hurricane Hunter is about to come into town. I didn't realize when we were ordering Hunter for today's episode, we ordered extra spicy, but I really honestly wouldn't prefer it any other way. Hunter, you now have the opportunity, following the besmirching of our picks, to claim the throne and really, for all intents and purposes, steal my thunder with your offseason darling pick.
Your thunder.
Go ahead and take it away, good sir. I have to. Hey, if life is wrestling.
King of the hill.
Have you guys heard that? Life is wrestling.
It's wrestling. I love that.
I need the stage. I need the performance here from Hunter. So without further ado, sir.
Oh, I'm nervous. My heart's never pounding, but this time I got to be right. This is my first offseason darling on this podcast. And boy, I want to pick the Giants. I want to, but it's just not going to fly.
We all wanted you to. We all wanted you to.
I did.
What was spicy your pick?
I thought about it. I was like, maybe the Patriots taken. I thought about it. Maybe the Raiders. They're fun. Why not?
The Raiders. That's not a bad one.
Maybe the Raiders. Maybe the Falcons. And the team I ended up with going, the New York Football Giants.
Oh!
I'm going for it. I'm going
He's doing
for
it.
I'm
He
picking
ripped the
Giants.
shirt.
And I'll tell you
This
what.
is amazing.
I'll tell you what. I'm picking the Giants, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. The Micah Parsons trade in general has really brought up some issues with me because everybody's saying, you know what? Maybe the Cowboys might be the 4th team in the NFC East this year. That was already going to happen. And I'll tell you why, okay? First of all, I think this is probably one of the best draft classes we saw this year. And no one wants to admit it. I see everywhere. Cam Scatterbu, great pick. Darius Alexander, great pick. Jackson Dart could be great. No one wants to put it all together and give the Giants some credit. Because what? A tough schedule? A tough schedule is what we're hanging our hat on. I'll tell you something about a tough schedule. It doesn't mean anything. The games haven't happened yet. We have the Commanders week 1, and I don't think we're going to lose. Okay? Everyone's saying, oh, well, Russ. What if Russ is bad? Kevin asked me, is this a bit? Is this a bit? No, it's not a bit. I'm a believer. Okay, the vibes are sky high. And people say, well, Brian Daboll's on the hot seat. What if he gets fired? Maybe he has to put in Dart to prove his job. Does anybody in here actually think Brian Daboll's a bad head coach? Does anybody in here actually think Mike Kafka doesn't know anything about offense? The same guy that brought up Patrick Mahomes, he's pretty good, I think. I think this draft class, stout. I think the improvements, especially on the defensive side. The Giants have a sneaky good defense. How about good? How about just good? I don't see a single hole on the team. It's a little thin at corner, but to be honest with you, I don't think there's that many issues. Maybe Russ isn't who he used to be. But let me tell you something. I have told Jimmy this before. Daniel Jones will do something to a man. Daniel Jones is a destroyer of hearts. He kills you inside. He makes football less fun.
Yeah.
It was a good free agency. And I'll close with this one example because I talked about our great draft class. I left someone out, some very important potential player that some have described as not a generational prospect, a generational prospect in Abdul Carter. And I'll finish with an example, and I'll let you guys respond to, but the Giants, the schedule. Let me finish with this. Okay, and I don't think anybody expects what I'm about to say. My Hinge profile has been bone dry for the past year and a half or so. Okay, I'm not getting a ton of matches, but I went in and I really did some digging. I did some SEO research, changed a couple pictures around, and you know what? I got a couple of likes. Things changed. Just by one picture change, and everything's getting better. What if Abdul Carter is the singular Hinge picture? What if that's the difference? So I don't care that the Commanders made the NFC Championship game with a retirement home team. I don't care that the Cowboys have an explosive offense. And you know what? I'll say it. The Eagles can win as many Super Bowls as they want. There's ever a team more primed for a Super Bowl hangover, it's this Philadelphia Eagles team. So do I think the Giants are going to make the playoffs? Yeah, they're my offseason darling team. I'd love to hear some responses. I might leave the call. I might.
All right. I as the host of this show, I will be the first to respond, and I will first, sir, tip my proverbial cap to you for the performance, the absolute greatness that took place on this podcast. I feel as though the only thing that I could imagine would be better is if I could leave my own body and watch myself. That is the only. I'm just kidding. That Hunter, flowers. I might be rooting for the Giants after that. I've been the lone Giants defender on this show for years. Adrian can attest. I love Brian Daboll. I get called a homer for my support of the Giants just because they have Brian Daboll. Because I love Dave's from the Buffalo years. I love Joe Shane. Yeah, they made some bad decisions. Yeah, they've had some lean years. I think you, sir, if Jimmy has the biggest cojones out of the three of us, you have cojones of steel. And really extra credit for bringing in your dating life into the podcast. That makes it that much better. Makes it just that much more.
Give him a like. Give him more likes.
Girls. This guy, that mustache, you ain't swiping right? Get out of here. Maggie Gyllenhaal with a mustache? Come on. She's pretty. Ladies and gentlemen, we just witnessed greatness, and that's all I have to say. I will just tell you I disagree, right? Just as a rudimentarily, but that doesn't mean that we can't all just put our thinking caps aside and just appreciate greatness when it happens.
Thank you.
That might be the best thing I've ever heard. That might be like I've never had someone, and I mean this sincerely, I've never had a rant just immediately turn my perspective on a team.
Oh,
and
you're going that far.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was fantastic, man. I mean, that was like music to my ears. And then I looked at the Giants schedule just now, right? Because I was one of those people hanging their hat on. I know, but I looked at it and I'm like, the Cowboys aren't necessarily going to be great. The Chargers, you never really know. Okay, Harbaugh is a great coach, but you never know. The Eagles, I'm with you on the Eagles Super Bowl hangover. I feel like they're absolutely prompt. The Bears, and there's no guarantee to be good there. Even the Packers have had their issues with the Giants before. Tommy freaking Cutlett's ruined them. Patriots, we got no guarantee of being good. Raiders, absolutely, if they're the sum of their parts. Vikings, we don't know what McCarthy's. Like, this schedule doesn't have to be good. It's good on paper, and it could change through the season. So I'm with you on that. And I'm going to get off the schedule train and say that maybe the Giants will be competitive. I was going to say sneaky, but I didn't want to fire you up again. And I'm with you, man. Abdul Carter and just their pass rush unit in general is freaking amazing. Like, that is like top unit in the league or top 5 unit in the league. Like that, I really feel like that could be the Giants calling card. So you know what? Good pick, gutsy pick. If this couldn't have worked out better, because Kevin was like, "Life is wrestling," and you ripped off your shirt. All we needed was like
I didn't know.
Come in.
I was trying to like set him up. I was trying to tee him up. I didn't expect that. Ladies and gentlemen,
you did.
Look behind the curtain here. There was no premeditating. I didn't know that was going to happen, and I feel as though it couldn't have gone better. Like, obviously, so I think we can all agree whether or not his pick comes to fruition, this will be in the Legit Football Hall of Fame, regardless
100%.
of whether or not.
Absolutely.
If that happens, we'll have to talk about something. We'll have to.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to figure out how you got a hold of my crystal ball. But Jimmy, we need your thoughts on this Giants pick, because obviously it's controversial. Please side with the rational thinker here, and don't do what Adrian does and pander.
Listen, man, I think a couple episodes ago I was talking about how the schedule didn't matter, and he got me at that. So I'm on their side. I'm not on your side.
Word.
I'm not on the Debbie Downer side.
Debbie Downer.
Listen, before his rant, I had Giants on my list of darling teams. After that rant, how can you not pick him? I had Abdul Carter last week as my defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
How could I not be? I mean, he said like the Jaguars running back to running back. What if they just go quarterback to quarterback? I mean, if Russell Wilson isn't showing up, throw in Jameis Winston for a good vibe check. If he starts throwing too many picks, throw in Jackson Dart for a good vibe check and watch him ball out. They're high on him. They have a running back room that has promise. They have Malik Neighbors. Other wide receivers, it doesn't really matter at this point. They have a phenomenal defensive line. I mean, that's one of the best defensive lines in the league. And if you have that, if you have something you're really good at, and you have promising quarterback, you have a promising wide receiver, you can go a long way.
Yeah.
The schedule, the division, let's not worry about that now.
Let's.
I don't think that's a big deal. You know,
Let's put a pin in that. Let's pretend that that's not a variable for a second, right?
The Super Bowl takeover.
I love it. I love the Kool-Aid drinking that's happening on the show. I'll go just short of taking a sip, but I'll say it smells good. It looks like the people are enjoying it. I will be the heel. Unfortunately, I think the episode with the shirt rip and the spiciness, Hunter was the heel. I guess I'm the heel now, because I'm gonna. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, from left field. Is that Anthony music?
Yes.
No, we gotta get our producer pick in before we wrap it up. But I'll just say, despite loving the enthusiasm and despite rooting for the Giants, they're my stepdad's team. They're the neighbor of New York's team. You know, obviously the Bills are New York's real team, but they are Jersey's team. I'll give you that.
Totally.
But I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But I hope they do for the greatness of this podcast and that segment. I hope they do.
Got to take a swing. Got to
take a swing. I respect.
I appreciate the reluctance. I don't think anyone wanted to disagree with me.
I was terrified.
My journalistic integrity was on the line. I had to I had to.
Your life was on the line.
The biggest thing for me is Russ. I just don't. I think he's cooked. I'm sorry. I don't think he has any. He made Pittsburgh worse. Justin Fields elevated Pittsburgh. Russ made them worse. They were unwatchable last year with him at the helm, and maybe this team will be better. If they had Jameis and Dart, I would be more inclined to jump in, but their commitment to Russ, I think, is going to be their undoing.
I'm just calling the Pittsburgh thing a learning experience. The same thing with Denver. Again, the bar's so much lower. He doesn't have to be elite Russell Wilson. He just has to not be Daniel Jones. And I think that alleviated pressure, him being in this market. He's already hosting charity events with Sierra. The teammates seem to love him. Him and Malik have great chemistry. It might not work, but it just feels so different. And I think that alone is enough.
He's crushing the rebranding. I'm a huge New York Knicks fan. I watched every game last year. He was courtside. He got his ovations. I got to give Russell his flowers in that sense. It seems like the rebranding is, I'm not seeing as many TikToks or Subway ads.
No.
Maybe, just maybe, if there's a world where he can turn the ship around, maybe he plays his way back into the Hall of Fame. But I digress. We have one more team to be brought up today by our producer, Anthony Weiner, who we're really happy to have join us on the show for the first time in a while. So welcome in, Anthony.
Yeah, it has been a while.
What do you got for us?
This one hurts me to do. But, I promised myself, fantasy football, don't play bias, right? When you're analyzing football from a observer's perspective, don't be biased. So from a non-biased perspective, it's a team in the NFC North, the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
And I trust Ben Johnson.
Fair. He's earned your trust.
Develop Caleb Williams just like he made Jared Goff an all-pro quarterback.
Absolutely.
Successfully.
Yeah.
I like DeAndre Swift still, another Lion, former Lion. Their receiver room is packed. Their tight end room, Komet and Loveland, both great tight ends. Everything's just looking up, and all Caleb Williams needs to do is take one small step forward, and that whole team is going to succeed. All he needs is that one step, and I think that Ben Johnson is going to teach him how to take his first steps, and that's going to happen this year. There's historically second-year rookie quarterbacks have success and then end up being MVPs. And I don't want to see it happen, but like I said, I'm not being biased, so they're my darling Chicago Bears.
There you go.
This is the point where I rip my shirt off now and get super angry. Like, this is where it comes.
Yeah.
There's just nothing underneath. It's just
I am not
what is it you're doing?
Pick. I don't.
If I know a person who backs their team really as much, if not more than myself, it's Anthony. So for him to go out on this limb and for him to pick Chicago, that's mighty big of him, but it also speaks quite a bit to the vibes in Chicago. There have been some bad ones this offseason. Let's just be clear.
Oh yeah.
There's some warts. The video of Caleb Williams trying to hit the nets and missing every single one, that lives in my head rent free. But I watched Chicago dismantle the Bills secondary, and admittedly they're backups, but if you saw that Hard Knocks episode, those backups were trying really hard, and they're good. They're good players. And they got absolutely embarrassed by Caleb Williams, Colston Loveland, Alamadeus Zacchaeus, if I'm reading my notes correctly.
Oh yeah.
So Anthony, I respect it, man. I think the vibes lately, like last couple of weeks, much better than earlier in the offseason, but I do think this is a pick that is. I do think it takes a degree of bravery to come on and pick a team.
It's hard, man. And I found out that Ben Johnson had the interview with the Bears the week before our postseason game, which we lost.
So you got to have some hard feelings there.
Very, very bad blood there. But,
yeah.
Ben Johnson's still Ben Johnson. He can develop.
Yeah, he's a genius.
He's a genius on the offense. And they have a good defense, top 14 in points allowed. Montez Sweat is insane.
Yeah.
Not only the offense, but the defense is looking good. So,
round table, fellas, what do we think?
Yeah, I like the pick a lot. I think the Bears are, out of all the picks we made, have probably the widest range of outcomes. The only thing that I would probably walk back is what Anthony said about Caleb just needing to take a small step forward. I think he needs to take a pretty hefty lunge forward.
I agree.
I think it's all on his shoulders. I think this team lives and dies with Caleb Williams, especially because I said it earlier, but Tyson Bagent has like pretty good vibes. They talk highlier of Tyson Bagent than they do Caleb. So and no one's going to say Caleb was a bad prospect, but it's time to prove it. He doesn't want to turn into that Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think the Bears are going to give him that long of a leash, especially just with his kind of just just his ego of it, just how he carries himself. I think Caleb Williams is one of the easier players to root against. I think he's the one that's on the hot seat. And I've seen arguments that I'm not going to agree or disagree with, but you could say that Caleb is under more pressure than Ben Johnson, and Ben Johnson could easily outlast him. So
without question.
So I think it's a good pick. I just think it's wide spectrum of outcomes, and I think it's all on Caleb Williams' shoulders. So hopefully he's ready. Hopefully he can handle it. Paint your nails, cry in the stands, do whatever. Definitely. Win or lose, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
I think you're on the money, Hannah, and I think because the problem is some of the other excuses, to an extent, they've gone away on paper, right? The offensive line's been rebuilt, but like just quietly, last year's offensive line ranked 17th amongst lines. They had to block for the fourth most passing time, time to pass of anyone in the league. Like that was on Caleb Williams too. And you take a bunch of good players, you put them together. I've said this before, that doesn't mean they gel, but unfortunately for Caleb Williams, that excuse is off the table now, right?
Yep.
He's the one that has to do. Ben Johnson, the coaching excuse is off the table, even if he's not a good head coach. And we've seen this time and time again. A great offensive coordinator becomes a not so good head coach. It could happen, but unfortunately he doesn't get that benefit of the doubt anymore. And Ben Johnson turned Jared Goff into an all-pro, but Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl before Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams doesn't have that pelt on the wall. So I'm perennially going to be a Bears hater, and I cannot disassociate from that no matter how hard I try. But the analyst in me will say this, with the Bears, no matter, you can say what you want for the past decade and a half, not until you prove it.
King of the Hill rules.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I mean,
they are the off-season champions every year.
Yeah, I was going to say they've been like the media's darling team for the past several years. But each year, I feel like I believe it a little bit more. I mean, I think Ben Johnson coming in is obviously huge, and Anthony, that's kind of the stake that he's putting himself into. But they have a lot of playmakers too, so especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm excited to see what comes of it. Like Hunter said earlier, is Rome Odunze going to be the wide receiver one? Is DJ Moore going to step up like he always does? His consistency is Colson Lovin going to get a lot of love. Is Cole Kmet going to kind of show up a little bit? What's going to happen to that running back room? So I'm excited for the Bears and kind of to see what they have. Bears, Vikings, it's a good week one matchup because of that. So Anthony, good pick.
Yep.
I'm excited for it.
We did it.
Brave pick, like
Brave
Kev
pick.
said. So
I will tell you from a biased perspective, I hope I'm wrong.
There you go.
I think Adrian agrees with
same
you
here.
too.
I also would like for myself to be wrong as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. We made it through my favorite episode of the year, the Kevin Phillip Fox, the Buffalo Trill Invitational, the Offseason Darling episode. And thank you very much, Anthony. So this was some of the hottest heat we've ever had on this podcast, from the spiciness of Hunter and his performance to myself and Anthony's putting aside the personal burdens or biases and picking what we had to do. And also, actually, Jimmy as well.
Yeah, that's weird. Why did we do that?
Teams. That's weird.
Yeah. I just realized that. We did do that.
Just one person you haven't complimented yet. Just I don't know.
And last but certainly not least, the most handsome one here who, ladies and gentlemen, just give it up for Adrian Revito and just everything he does and everything he brings to the table.
I'll come right back at that and just say, Kevin, you're a gentleman and a scholar, but you are one season. If the Giants are good this year, you are one season away from embodying you die a hero, live long enough to become the villain.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's all on the line for you this year.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. But I'll tell you what. This is just in response to the allegations that that my pick was too easy. On last week's podcast, Jimmy, did I not pick Dave Canales to win Coach of the Year and the Panthers to make the playoffs?
I think you did. I
did. So, therefore, I will just, again, Panthers, watch out. That's all I'm going to say. I had to go with the Patriots for the narrative. I had to go with the Patriots for the gut check because that's how the board was speaking to me. But watch out for the Panthers, and you best believe, even though they weren't my official pick, if the Panthers go, I'll dance on it like they were my pick.
You can't do that.
Revisionist history. No, I'm saying it now, so I can. I'm retrospectively saying it now. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. Hunter, anything you want to say to the good people before signing off?
No, this was fun. This was fun. I think everybody made a solid pick. I think there's a world where all of us could be right, all of us could be wrong. I think it's a good time, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I think this is probably the most excited I've been for a football season probably ever. It feels like everybody. It feels like you can make an argument that everybody is going to be good because as teams and organizations just get smarter. Besides the Cowboys, I think there's just more reason to cope, more reason to talk yourself into it, and I think that's just great for fans, great for the culture, great for the fantasy community. So. Yeah, Jags and Jets could be good. Why not? Let's try it.
Let's live in that world for a second. Adrian, anything you want to say to the good people?
No, this might be our longest potty. We've been doing this now for just over 2 years, I think, Kevin. If I'm not wrong, this might be our third off season. So, no, it might be actually. It's our third Offseason Darlings, so it definitely is. Yep. And it was a fun one, man. I have to pay props to Hunter for that spiel, man. That was amazing.
True theater.
I will be clipping that and posting that.
That was Hugh Jackman, the greatest showman. Like that was all about that.
Absolutely.
Also a Giants fan, by the way, Hugh Jackman.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
It is.
It's in the stars.
Also Jimmy, Australian.
Jimmy, anything you want to say to the good people?
49 hours till football.
Let's go. I'm so glad
we end this pod how we started it.
Awesome.